everything'll be okay. And if you're lost, I got a bobblehead Jesus. You get on your knees, that Jesus I please ya. The money is clean, 'cause we scrub it good with guns and gasoline. We could save the world. Nothing's obscene if we only close our eyes. Boys and girls, welcome to this joyride. Come on, all of you won't have to lie. Get in line and everything'll be fine. We got toss-ups, trouble to the wind. We beat them all like we did in the end. The money is clean, 'cause we scrub it good with guns and gasoline. I'm gonna save the world. Nothing's obscene if we only close our eyes. Boys and girls, welcome to this joyride. 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 Coming up a little something to get by. Taking everything into account the way you should. Light it up, got to be so good.
What up? What up? It's your boy Conserviz 34. Whew, whew. What a night. I'm cutting the intro tonight. It's 2:13 in the morning. We're gonna get right to in just a second. Just a second, we're gonna get live to somebody who was at the show, taped the show, got the set list. We're gonna, he's gonna be able to describe this better than I can because he was there and I was not. So let's take a second here. Let's get this set list up so you guys can see this, and we're gonna bring in Zach from Mexico City. Zach, how you doing?
Hey, Marcus, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Outstanding.
Let us know, guys, as well if there's any issues hearing Zach. I can hear him great. I mean, he's got a great connection here. But Zach, just walk us through what it was like to be at the show tonight in Mexico City.
So I'll start off by saying that from the second that I saw the actual venue before I even got into Mexico City, I knew I was going to enjoy it. It's actually noted as one of the most beautiful architectural wonders of the modern world. It's been written up for the past like 50 or 60 years of just how beautiful it is. And I can flat out say seeing it in person doesn't even do any pictures justice. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous venue, surrounded by historic museums and beautiful parkland and zoos. And it was just, I already knew it was something special. But then when you got into the venue itself, this crowd was like nothing I've ever seen before. It was the most respectful. It felt like a very European crowd. Everybody was really sitting. Everyone was just jamming along to the music. No one was screaming. No one was getting drunk and loud. And to be kind of fair, and I think it's the way I'm going to look at this show because I'm really excited to listen back to it. This show was almost like a recital to a degree. The band kind of understood that energy and just put everything out on the floor. There were some instances where it kind of fell flat, i.e., Louisiana Bayou just absolutely fell on its face. Not to mention that it almost collapsed midway through because he forgot where he was and his guitar broke. Um, but I will say that this show will go down in my brain as one of the most interesting, creative, and fun shows that I've ever seen Dave play.
Interesting. And so you were here in Mexico for the Cancun shows, Riviera Maya. You come back for Mexico City. How was the sound and the mix here compared to some of the fall tour stops?
So you've got to understand that it's a completely different style system. First off, I'm 99.9% sure they didn't bring their US rig down here. I'm pretty sure they're using whatever the house systems are at these venues, which is not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think it kind of helped out for tonight because it was not loud, it was not booming. You didn't have Stefan, reverbing the entire room. It was mixed really well. The sound in there was crisp and clean. And there were multiple instances where, especially during some of the more slow and down tempo songs or less known songs like Virginia in the Rain and Bismarck, that you could hear a pin drop inside of that theater. The
Mm,
crowd was just enthralled, and it was so cool to see.
that's very interesting. And another thing that we saw, you shared videos with us, or you put some of those on Twitter. The crowd, you had some pictures. There was nobody there. When you get in, and then you have right like 10 minutes before 9 p.m. There's still a lot of empty seats. Did they were a lot of late arriving fans in the orchestra and balcony sections?
So to make sure I give everyone the accurate description, there were essentially three. There are three levels inside of this theater. There's the GA pit that's in the front, which was a really large pit, and then you have a normal orchestra, which is in the bottom, goes up to where like front of house is, very similar in size to like SPAC in that sense. But then what you have is you have two rows of balconies. The first row wraps around the actual orchestra. So if you've got the orchestra right here, you've got a full wraparound balcony. And then up on top of that in the back, you've got the furthest balcony. And the, the actual venue itself holds about 10,000 people, but they blacked out the top, and that was well known in advance.
Okay.
Um, so that definitely took out, I would say, at least 2,000 seats or so. I will say that when the band went on at 9:10, it was probably 85 to 90% full.
Okay. All right. So this show, I mean, the big highlights here. We have the first true busted stuff with Dave playing acoustic guitar since 2002. Full band variety, not non, that's a huge thing. We have the first full band Bismarck, first since August 30th of 2016. And we have the first full band Virginia in the Rain, the first full band with the whole band playing along with it since July 1st of 2018, a month after Come Tomorrow comes out. So let's start off with the Busted Stuff. What was your reaction? What was the feeling for you when you hear this song that has gone away?
When I mean, I do credit that I had a feeling it was coming out because your analysis of the video that Rashawn put out was spot on, and I think that kind of gave away that surprise. Not to mention that the actual song itself being played in Mexico means that it was clearly on Dave's mind, and Stefan had said that he really wanted to play it, so it was kind of a no-brainer that it was going to come out. I'm going to be honest with you, even looking through the set list, while there are definitely some spots where I would take one or two songs out, especially if you look at this as a tour opener in front of a not home crowd. This is a slam dunk show.
Definitely. I mean, I even tweeted. I said, "Hey guys, what we got through? I think it was the first three or four songs." I said, "Listen, don't expect anything crazy. This is going to be like a training camp, a preseason. Treat it like Europe. There could be a mercy like 2019 in Munich, but just expect that they're going to be testing. They're going to be trying to play through what they know and dust the cobwebs off. And is immediately after that, Virginia in the Rain is played. Bismarck comes shortly after, and then obviously the Busted Stuff. But walk us through. So we have Busted Stuff. The next one we're gonna go backwards in Bismarck. How did that Bismarck sound to you compared to some of the ones prior, like in the 2016 era of the band?
That Bismarck tonight was incredibly tight. It was very clear that the band had been religiously practicing that over the last 2.5 weeks. It was very, very clear that Dave made a point to say, I want to play this song again, and we're not going to fuck it up. And to their credit, it was flawless. It was loose and bouncy and fun. And as a complete aside, and this was what I was beyond blown away by, and it was for the entire show. Dave's voice was probably the best I have heard it in about 3 or 4 years tonight. Granted, even of the fact that we are 5,000 feet above sea level in the mountainous desert area around here that is not good for vocals at all. Dave was not straining. He was not screaming. He was reserved. He had a great vocal performance tonight, and he shined a lot on Bismarck. That was one of the biggest ones.
That's awesome to hear. And I didn't listen to I didn't watch the couch tour, but I was kind of like, how do these songs sound now compared to when they came out? As we know, we have seen Dave Matthews Band songs be great, and then all of a sudden they get played 5, 6 years later, and they're just not as good. So that's great to hear, as far as his voice, as far as how tight it was. And then we go up to Virginia in the Rain. I know you had sent me this picture here. Let's bring this back up here. This picture that you sent me. What was it like to get this full band Virginia in the Rain?
I mean, Dave even introed it saying, "Hey, listen, like we haven't played this in a while as a full band, so like bear with us." And the band kind of just leaned into the groove and just slowed it down. They had fun with it. It was really, really good.
It's great to hear, and it's still shocking that this song has only been played. This is the third time it's been played full band since the release of Come Tomorrow. Every other time it's been Dave solo or maybe Dave and Tim, but this song has only been played 3 times, counting tonight, in the full band variety. The last one before tonight was July 1st at Summerfest, which they'll get back there this year. So I was happy about that, to see that come back. Um, I love that song in the full band variety here. You mentioned there were some rough spots. I know you said Bayou was one of those rough spots.
Bayou fell flat on its face. And I, to a degree, I kind of hope that Dave realizes just how flat it fell for this audience. And I hope to God he doesn't bring it out for Monterrey or Guadalajara because it will fall just as flat.
Listen, I'm all for Bayou getting canceled. Um, you know,
Yeah.
so
And I will say it was like while I was kind of reeling away from that, the second that that was done, Stefan started into if you're familiar with like the older style of Crash Into Me, where he does a little bit of that more high register noodling solo before Dave comes in with it. He started doing that, and I had this weird moment of like, when was the last time I saw Crash? Because I remember that Crash is now a rarity. You don't get Crash that often. You get it maybe
yes,
once a tour, if that. Because I think even what the last time this was played was maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago.
let's see here. So we got June 17th. Was I at that show? Yes, that was Mansfield.
But even if you look back at those stats, where Crash used to be played like every other show or whatever, now you are lucky to get it once a year, which is
Right.
really cool.
Yeah, 2021 has only been played a couple of times. The pandemic is 2020, which is funny. It's actually, even though with that rarity, technically you got a streak going back to 95, Dave and Tim or Dave Matthews Band. But yeah, it's just been sharply reduced in the last couple of years. And it's kind of back to its 2012, 2011, or no, we'll say 2012 because 2011 was a caravan. But yeah, it's back to its 2012 levels in the last couple of years. So it's a shocker that this has become a rarity, but nice for it to come back here as far as it being played in Mexico City. And this is the Milwaukee show. We'll get that out of here. That's the last time Virginia the Rain was played full band before tonight. Um, did you see, like, as far as the crowd makeup as well? Were there what appears to be like Americans or people, a lot of people that traveled from the states?
So I would say that like I couldn't get a particular good look at the pit just due to how far back I was. But I would say a fair amount, well over 80 to 90% of the people that were at that show were Central American, whether it was Mexican or whatever.
Right.
There were a handful of Americans, and you could pick them out very easily because they were standing for the entire show, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? Sit down."
Mhm.
So the Americans showed themselves pretty simply, and from that, like I said, by that metric, I would say that it was probably only 10% Americans.
Okay. And it's interesting to see those, like you said, the European style people sitting, but it's a respect. It's a sign of respect to sit, be quiet. And I know a lot of people love that travel to Europe. We're gonna go to this merch. You had sent some pictures here from, I believe this was from a friend. I tallied it out. It looks like the 800 pesos for the poster. That's around $45.
It's about $45, yeah.
So this merch is not cheap. If for those who are Mexican or who are going by the pesos currency, you know, it's for the American dollar. I mean, that's expensive. So it's amazing or not amazing. It's kind of, this is a lot of money for people that are local.
Well, I mean, like the cost of living in Mexico in general is significantly lower. I mean,
Hmm.
heck, I went to a taco place today that it was 11-cent tacos or 11 peso tacos, which is about 60 cents a taco.
Wow.
I mean, like, granted, everything is significantly cheaper down here. However, you know, even to that point, Dave and Red Light decided to charge American prices for these shows. And from the looks of it, people were able to go and do it.
Mhm. Yeah. And I've been to Guatemala, and it's kind of the same thing for electronics. I remember we wanted to get, this is back in way back in 2006, but we wanted to get them some TVs, and also wanted to get this shelter a PlayStation, and it was just the same amount to get a PlayStation 2 back then in American dollars. So that's something they're probably used to, that
Hmm.
certain things that are of value are going to be a little higher priced. Now, this poster, talk about this poster. It looks like this is, you had told me this is the only poster that they're gonna have for the entire Mexico run. Is that correct?
That is correct. So they decided to combo all three dates into one, which, I mean, from an economic standpoint, it makes sense.
Right.
Even for years, posters don't sell abroad nearly as well as they do in the states. It just
Right.
that tends to be the case. I don't know why. Maybe it's the marketing. Um, but no, the it's just going to sound weird. But I took a look at it. I'll grab it more than likely when I'm in Monterey. Is it something that I'm looking forward to putting on the wall? Not really. It's just kind of a poster.
Yeah, I'd seen some other pictures. I don't want to steal from other people, but I know some people posted it, a closer up shot, and I was like, it's not for me. Is it Raul Urias, I believe, did it? And I think also that's an interesting thing, like you said, for these international shows, you may have some casual fans, some fans who have never seen this band but want to see them, and perhaps it's just one of those things where the poster, the amount of people that are there for the poster, especially given the price of this thing, for people who aren't into posters, it's not going to sell. And it very, very, a good call probably to just have one poster for all these dates here.
Exactly.
So I don't have anything. One thing that stands out to me, and I don't, did you read the Relics article?
I haven't gotten to yet. I gotta
Okay.
I gotta get a hold of it.
Okay. One thing that stands out, even Relics article aside, what stands out to me is that I've had a lot of frustrations, not with the music, because I actually love Monsters. Madman's Eyes, the studio version is okay, but I know it's going to be good live. But I had concerns about this band being cohesive. We see Stefan not on Monsters at all. You have Dave doing a lot of stuff by himself, really, over the last two albums. And the article that, I know you haven't read it, but the article talks about in the pandemic them having to go in separately, but there's no talk of even the band going back in the studio and just recording everything together for doing a couple songs as a group together to get that chemistry. So my concern with the album and with Dave is he's kind of separating himself from the band. But when I saw the clips and I listened to some of the stuff on Instagram today and tonight, I feel like this band is united. It's cohesive, like you said. That Bismarck was tight. So how did this band sound like it was one unit? Did they look like they were one unit? How did everything look there
Oh,
as far as
one
morale and
one
presence?
thousand percent. I this was the entire band dialed in, and I don't know if it was the extra practice time or the extra rehearsal time or just something has finally clicked and they're all really excited for it. But the the moment, even beyond like how tight Bismarck was or how good Busted Stuff was, which was really really good. Um, the moment that I knew that we're in good shape is when Monsters got played tonight, and it was very clear that Dave took the time to learn about how rushed the Dave and Tim versions from Cancun were, and he put a lot of effort into getting everybody on the same line for the full band release of it today, and it was so good. There's an extended Tim solo towards the end of it. There's this really cool outro that they decided to do between Buddy and Carter, and they slowed it down. Thank God, so that way you can actually absorb it versus like the sped up version that they did in Mexico. I
Mhm.
like I'm very rarely excited for a tape that I'm releasing to come out, but like I am so excited to send you this tape in the morning because you're gonna love it.
I look forward to listening to it. Any other final thoughts about this show?
So the only quick last thing that we didn't get to talk about was looking for a vein. And I know we've talked about how for this new album, one of the plus sides to it is that there are a bunch of bite-sized songs and they kind of just they go in, they do their thing and they leave. And that could be a plus. Nothing has to not every song needs to be a 15-minute epic. And Dave actually acknowledged that at the beginning of E1. He looked at the crowd and he was like, "Listen, we haven't played this song before anywhere. It's a tiny, tiny song. I promise you, we'll blow it out with "Don't Drink the Water." I promise you, we'll do that. But just let us play this little tiny, tiny song, and then we just get it out of the air." And it was cute. It was a cute vibe. It was I don't know how to explain it. I definitely want to take a couple more listens on it. I want to let it fully gel. I can tell you that I definitely didn't hate it at first glance, which is a plus. Um, but I think it's going to be one of those songs that it's going to be one that grows on you a little bit. It needs a little bit of time, a couple listens for you to get through.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll listen back to that on the tape once you get that done. Hey, thank you for taping this. Thank you for being down here to give us this report. There's a lot of people that are on now and that are going to wake up tomorrow morning and look at this and want to know the perspective of someone there. So we appreciate you being on.
Hey, I'm really glad I was able to go and get all this done today. Even like about an hour and a half before doors, there was going to be no tape. It
Wow.
was looking quite dicey. The Auditorio Nacional uh, is a federal like government owned venue, and there was a lot of bureaucracy and red tape that needed to get cut at literally the 11th hour to make this happen. But it's probably going to be one of my favorite tapes I've ever released, and I'm really excited for everybody to listen to it.
Well, we're glad to wait for you to get that done, and we see the set list here. They did everything as is. If anyone's wondering, there's a set list Zach got. No changes, no alterations. But thank you, Zach. Get some sleep, and we'll look forward to trying to connect with you throughout the rest of these Mexico shows.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. You get some sleep because it's real late for you, and I'm going to go get some tacos.
All right, take care. Peace.
All right, take care.
All right, so let's thank Zach for coming on here and excuse me, taking time away from just coming back from the show. Rocky King of Music. Yes, no covers tonight, and that's awesome. That's awesome that there's no covers tonight. I personally don't like when DMB covers. Not that I don't like certain covers, but there's only so much you're gonna get from a DMB show. They may only come to your area X amount of times, and I'd rather them play their music because they make very good music. Um, so it's one of those things where I'm glad they didn't do that. Um, Here's my thing, and this is it's funny this happens. You got people saying, "Hey, be grateful the band's touring." Da, 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 da. Be grateful the band is touring. I could listen to Dave play the phone book. But then when you get stuff like this, Virginia in the Rain liberated, full band, Bismarck liberated, and you also have Busted stuff. Like I said, guys, to me, this is the first busted stuff since 2002. Full band. The 2010 ones to me are listen, it's better than nothing, I guess, but it's still like it was not busted stuff. The last busted stuff full band that was busted stuff was May 18th, 2002. Because the 2010 versions, it's Tim CDs, and not I love Tim, and I think what he does in Monsters is what we all love. Those little pulsing kind of tremolo flares that he has on his guitar. But like busted stuff is all about that acoustic guitar being the front and center, which it was for the one that I heard, tonight from a recording. That's huge. Now, some people you don't like busted stuff, you think it's overrated or whatever. Who cares? Like, but the point is, there's the good chunk of the fan base that loves this song, and it's back, and it has that acoustic guitar on it. That's big. Virginia in the Rain, like same thing. Come Tomorrow comes out, and this song goes missing. Only been played 3 times full being since Come Tomorrow has come out. That's wild. After it was road tested for so long, I was at the first one in Hartford, and I always loved it. So that coming back is big. And then again, Bismarck, a song that, yeah, some people don't like it, it's too wordy, blah, 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 but there's still a good percentage of the fan base that loves it. So these shows matter because when you have a banger like this, the people who want to listen to the phone book, they're happy. And the people who just say, hey, I'm not asking for Last Stop and the Dodo and to Machead. I just want the band to highlight some of its great music instead of playing some songs that just fall flat, like Come Tomorrow, which to me just falls flat. Right. And the other thing is track selection. Track select. So you have two Come Tomorrow songs, but they're Come On, and Virginia in the Rain. Now, I would listen personally, Come On will never match the studio version, especially with no violin now. Like the studio version of Come On is just going to be better. So personally, I would rather have it go away. But if I had to choose two songs, I'd rather have Come On than She or That Girl Is You or something lackluster from that. So when Virginia in the Rain is one of the two songs from Come Tomorrow, that's a good pick, right? When Busted Stuff is the song from Busted Stuff instead of like if that's one of those songs from Busted Stuff, that's good. Like that's a good thing. Big Whiskey only having one play. Yes, it's you and me, and that gets a certain segment of the fan base happy. And this is a Mexico show, so you got to play those familiar tunes. But this is what happens when you have some special things come back, and many of us have been waiting for these things to come back for a while. So that's huge. Yeah. Satellite opens up. Not everyone's favorite, but I'll take this. I'll take Satellite opening up if we get Bismarck, Busted Stuff from Virginia in the Rain. Is it the best set list ever? No. But this, like the fact that we're like stuff is coming back like this is huge. The fact that practicing stuff like this is huge. And no matter what the studio album, whether if it's just Dave playing on certain stuff by himself, we know that Monsters sounded great. Shout out to DNB Society. I was able to listen to that on their Instagram page, and Monsters sounds great. All right. What is it? It says Bismarck 41 Gray Street. Busted Stuff is a roller coaster of emotions. Yeah, that's a great run. Fatima, we'll have to talk to you. Hopefully you can come on the stream in Texas. I hope you guys get Bismarck and Busted Stuff last year. You guys got Shotgun and some other special things out there. And Travis Lawson will be in at the Woodlands, just north of the Houston, just north of Houston in the suburbs. So that's awesome. Let's see what else everyone was saying. Yeah, Craig, shout out to Craig. He is watching from across the pond in Wales. And we hope that you guys get your updates. I feel like everything is pointing towards a possibility, just like in 2019. 2018, the album came out. 2019, they do Europe in the spring. And I really hope you guys get shows across the pond. And I hope that Americans can visit and see how the Europeans take in the shows. I really wish American shows had less talking and less people kind of just crazy drunk interrupting the songs. You could have a good time, do whatever you do, sip what you sip, or light up what you light up. But like, there's too many people that are just talking and reckless during the show that just takes away from fans trying to enjoy the show. So Texas, and I hope to get down one of these years to the opening shows down south, because even like last year, like Shotgun did not come up outside of Homedale, which I didn't go to, didn't come up to the Northeast or the Midwest. So it's, I want to definitely try to catch one of those Texas two steppers or whatever they start off in the next couple of years. So stay tuned, guys. That's really it. Let the, I love Zach giving us that perspective, getting the tape ready for, he'll have it. He says he'll have it out tomorrow, hopefully. And we'll just stay tuned. Bear with us here as we got some Mexico shows, and because there's no daylight savings time in Mexico, all of these shows are considered, because they don't spring forward and they just hang back. They're 2 hours behind here on the East Coast. So it is later. It's 2:47, almost 3 a.m. So I must be lonely over here if it's 3 a.m.
Bruh.
And so stay tuned. And again, Zach's going to be moving around. If you guys are in Mexico and you guys want to be on the stream, if you're going to a show in Mexico and want to be on the stream, just message me, Twitter, Instagram, put a comment here on YouTube. We can put a link. We can send you a link on YouTube if you're on. Shout out to everyone on Twitter as well. This is live on Twitter for the first time. We got YouTube and Twitter now, and we'll see how that goes. I'll keep an eye on that. So yeah, the main thing is if you're in America and you want to be on one of the shows, if you're coming back from the Woodlands, if you're doing Dallas, if you're doing uh, any of the tour stops and want to be on the post show stream, we want to hear from you. There's no wrong perspective. I may disagree. You may love Bayou. I may not like it. I may love the Stone. You may not like the Stone. But I want to get as many people on to share their perspective of going to a DMB show and how you feel. I think it's important to see how the room was for people. Even if we get two people on and they have two different feels of the room and two different sections, I think it's important because a lot of times we could sit back from home and think certain things, but then people who are there, who are outside at the venues, in these sheds, in these amphitheaters, and sometimes the arenas and special intimate venues like tonight, they are able to just give that perspective. So that's pretty much it. Under a concert fits 34 stream under an hour. Who would have thought of that? But I guess if DMB could play Buster stuff, this could be under an hour, right? All right. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to close out with Walk Around the Moon, and stay tuned for more. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Share this video with friends you know who like DMB. And again, if you want to be on, let me know. Peace.
Sometimes that makes it taste even better. I have found a stranger walking in the woods. See, he was not quite like anyone I knew. Red dress, polka dots, shadows in her hair. She said, "You take me, and I'll take